The Emotional Fortress: How to Remain Unshakable Under Pressure, a motivational audiobook by the Protocols of Astrian. Before we start, if you ever feel like you are walking through fog alone, hit subscribe and let these audiobooks be your quiet companion through every season. Think of your emotions like the walls of a house. When a strong wind comes, a weak wall will shake and maybe even fall down. But a wall that was built carefully, with strong materials and a solid foundation, will stand tall no matter how hard the wind blows. This book is your personal blueprint for building those strong walls around your heart and your mind. We are not going to use complicated words or confusing ideas that make you feel small. Instead, we will take this journey one simple step at a time, starting from the very ground up. You will learn why pressure exists, how it affects you, and most importantly, how to stay standing when everything around you seems to be falling apart. This is not about becoming cold or uncaring. It is about becoming strong enough to feel your feelings without being crushed by them. The person you are meant to be is already inside you, and this book will simply help you clear away the fear and doubt that are keeping that person hidden. Get ready to meet a new version of yourself, one who is calm, confident, and completely unshakable. You might be wondering if this is really possible for someone like you. Maybe you have tried to stay calm before, only to explode or cry when you least wanted to. Perhaps you believe that some people are just born strong, and you were not one of the lucky ones. Let me tell you a secret that will change everything. Emotional strength is not something you are born with. It is something you build. It is like a muscle that grows stronger every single time you use it. The person who stays calm during a crisis has simply practiced staying calm more times than you have. The person who does not care what others think has simply practiced letting go of opinions more often. This means that you are not stuck where you are right now. You are not broken, and you are not weak. You are simply at the starting line of an exciting journey, and every chapter ahead will give you a new tool to carry in your emotional toolkit. So let go of the idea that change is hard, and instead open your mind to the idea that change is just a series of small, simple steps. Your fortress is waiting to be built, and the very first brick is in your hands right now. Chapter 1: Why the Wind Blows, Understanding Why Pressure Exists. Life has a funny way of sending storms right when you feel least prepared for them. You might be having a perfectly good morning, and then suddenly, a rude comment or an unexpected problem lands right in your lap. It is easy to feel like the universe is picking on you when these things happen. But what if pressure is not your enemy at all? What if the wind that blows against your walls is actually there to show you where you need to be stronger? Think about a tree that grows in an open field with no wind at all. That tree will have weak roots and will fall over the moment a real storm arrives. But a tree that faces wind every single day grows deep, strong roots that hold it firmly in the ground. Pressure is simply the wind that helps you discover how deep your roots can grow. When you stop seeing difficult moments as punishments, you can start seeing them as teachers. Every stressful situation is carrying a message, and that message is always pointing you toward a part of yourself that is ready to become stronger. Imagine for a moment that you are building a muscle at the gym. You would not expect your arms to grow stronger if you never lifted anything heavy. The weight is what causes the muscle to tear and rebuild itself into something more powerful. Your emotions work the exact same way. When life puts something heavy on your shoulders, it is asking your inner strength to grow. The pressure you feel at work, in your relationships, or even from your own thoughts is just the weight you need to become a stronger version of yourself. This does not mean that painful moments are easy or that you should enjoy them. It simply means that you can stop wasting energy asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this situation trying to teach me?" That one small shift in your thinking changes everything about how you experience difficulty. You move from being a victim of pressure to being a student of it. You begin to understand that the wind is not your enemy, it is your training partner. Let us look at how nature handles pressure, because nature is the wisest teacher we have. A diamond is just a piece of coal that handled enormous pressure really well. A pearl is created when a tiny grain of sand irritates an oyster, and the oyster responds by covering that irritation with layer after layer of beauty. The most breathtaking landscapes on Earth were carved by wind and water over millions of years. Pressure did not destroy those things. It transformed them into something more valuable and more beautiful than they started as. You are no different from the diamond or the pearl or the mountain. You are currently being shaped by the forces around you, and the question is not whether pressure will come, but what you will allow it to turn you into. Will you let it crush you, or will you let it polish you? The choice is yours every single time a difficult moment arrives. Now I want you to think about the people you admire most in this world. Think about someone you know personally or someone you have heard about who seems incredibly strong. I promise you that their strength did not come from an easy life. It came from facing hard things and discovering that they could survive them. It came from nights when they cried and mornings when they got back up anyway. It came from moments when they wanted to quit but kept going one more day. The pressure they faced carved them into the person you admire today. You are currently in the middle of your own carving process, and it is easy to forget that the chisel feels sharp while it is working. One day, when you look back at this season of your life, you will see that every difficult moment was shaping you into someone stronger. You will thank the pressure for what it taught you, even if you cannot thank it right now. So take a deep breath and remind yourself that you are becoming exactly who you need to be. There is another important reason why pressure exists, and it has to do with your purpose in this world. Every single person has a unique gift to offer, something that only they can bring to the table. But that gift often stays hidden until life pushes us hard enough to reveal it. Think about someone who starts a charity after losing a loved one to an illness. Think about someone who writes a book to help others after surviving their own dark times. Think about someone who becomes a voice for the voiceless because they once felt silenced themselves. The pressure they faced did not just test them, it revealed them. It showed them who they really were and what they were capable of. Your pressure is doing the same thing right now. It is pushing you toward your purpose, whether you can see it yet or not. The storm is not here to destroy you. It is here to uncover the gifts that have been sleeping inside you, waiting for the right moment to wake up. So the next time you feel the wind picking up around you, I want you to pause and smile just a little bit. Not because the situation is fun, but because you now understand what is really happening. You are not being attacked, you are being trained. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. The pressure you feel is simply the universe's way of asking you to grow into the person you are meant to become. Every wave that crashes against your walls is strengthening them. Every storm that passes through your sky is clearing the way for brighter days ahead. You are not fragile, you are flexible. You are not weak, you are becoming strong. And the more you understand this simple truth about pressure, the less it will be able to shake you. So let the wind blow, because you are finally ready to learn what it has come to teach you. Chapter 2. The cracks in your walls finding your triggers. Imagine walking through your house and discovering a tiny crack in the wall that you never noticed before. It is small, barely visible, but you know that if you ignore it, water might get in during the next big storm. Finding your emotional triggers is exactly like finding those tiny cracks before the storm arrives. A trigger is simply something that makes you react strongly, often in a way that surprises even yourself. It could be a certain tone of voice that someone uses with you. It could be feeling left out of a group conversation. It could be someone telling you that you are not good enough at something you care about. These triggers are not signs of weakness. They are signposts pointing toward old wounds that still need healing. And the beautiful thing is that once you know where the cracks are, you can finally start fixing them. Let me tell you a story about a man who discovered his biggest trigger completely by accident. He was having a perfectly normal day at work when his boss walked by and simply said, "We need to talk later." Those 4 words sent his heart racing and his stomach dropping into his shoes. He spent the next 3 hours imagining every terrible thing his boss might say, convinced he was about to be fired or humiliated. When the meeting finally happened, His boss just wanted to ask him about a small project update. The man realized that his trigger was not actually his boss at all. It was the fear of being in trouble that he had carried since childhood. His father had used those exact words before punishing him, and his body still remembered that feeling even though his mind had forgotten. Your triggers work the same way. They are old memories wearing new masks, and finding them is the first step towards setting yourself free from them. The best way to find your cracks is to become a detective of your own emotions. When you feel that sudden rush of anger or that overwhelming urge to cry, stop and ask yourself a simple question. What just happened? Not what happened 5 minutes ago, but what happened in the exact moment before the feeling started. Was it a specific word someone used? Was it a look they gave you? Was it a thought that popped into your own head? Write it down if you have to, because these details matter more than you know. The more you practice this detective work, the more patterns you will start to see. You might notice that you always feel small when someone raises their voice at you. You might realize that you always feel abandoned when a friend cancels plans at the last minute. You might discover that you always feel worthless when you make a tiny mistake at work. These patterns are the cracks, and seeing them clearly is the only way to start repairing them. Now here is something important that most people never realize about their triggers. The trigger itself is never the real problem. It is just the messenger. If someone cuts you off in traffic and you explode with rage, the traffic is not the real issue. The real issue is the belief that you are being disrespected, or the feeling that you are not in control, or the exhaustion from a long day that left you with no patience left. Your trigger is simply the thing that opened the door to all those deeper feelings that were already inside you. This is actually wonderful news because it means you do not have to control the whole world to feel better. You do not have to make everyone speak kindly to you or ensure that nothing ever goes wrong. You just have to understand what is already inside you and learn how to calm those deeper waters. The trigger is just the messenger, and once you hear the message, you can thank the messenger and let it go. Let me share a simple exercise that will help you find your cracks faster. At the end of every day, take just 2 minutes to think about the moments when you felt your emotions spike. Maybe you felt really angry, or really sad, or really anxious. For each of those moments, ask yourself what story you were telling yourself in that moment. Were you telling yourself that you are not good enough? Were you telling yourself that people always leave? Were you telling yourself that you have to be perfect to be loved? These stories are almost never true, but we believe them so deeply that they become invisible. Shining a light on them is like turning on a lamp in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see the furniture you were tripping over. You might be surprised to discover that the same few stories show up again and again, attached to completely different triggers. Those repeating stories are your biggest cracks, and they are also your biggest opportunities for growth. The final piece of finding your cracks is learning to be gentle with yourself about what you discover. You might find some triggers that feel embarrassing or silly when you look at them in the light. You might realize that you have been carrying old hurts from years ago that have nothing to do with your life today. You might discover parts of yourself that you tried very hard to hide away. None of this means you are broken or weak. It means you are human, and being human means collecting bumps and bruises along the way. The goal is not to have a perfect wall with no cracks at all. The goal is to know your walls so well that you can repair the cracks before they become holes. Every trigger you identify is a victory because it is no longer hiding in the shadows, controlling you without your permission. You are becoming the master of your own emotional house, and that is something to be truly proud of. Chapter 3. The Panic Button, Why We React Before We Think. Have you ever said something in anger and regretted it 1 second later? Have you ever sent a message you wished you could take back? Have you ever made a decision in a moment of panic that made no sense once you calmed down? If you answered yes to any of these questions, congratulations. You are a normal human being with a normal human brain. The part of your brain that handles emergencies is incredibly fast, and it was designed that way to keep you alive thousands of years ago. When a tiger jumped out of the bushes, you did not have time to think about your options. You just had to run or fight. That same ancient alarm system is still working inside you today, but now it goes off for things that are not life-threatening. A rude email can trigger the same physical response as a charging tiger, and your body does not know the difference. Understanding this is the first step toward taking back control of your reactions. Let me paint a picture of what happens inside your body when you hit the panic button. Your brain sends a signal to release chemicals that prepare you for danger. Your heart starts beating faster to pump blood to your muscles. Your breathing becomes shallow and quick to take in more oxygen. Your thinking brain actually starts to shut down because thinking takes too long when a tiger is chasing you. All of this happens in less than a second, long before you have any conscious awareness of what is going on. This is why you can find yourself yelling at someone before you even realize you are angry. This is why your hands can start shaking during a presentation, even though you know all the material perfectly. Your body is responding to a perceived threat, and it does not care that the threat is just a thought or a look or a memory. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and it is doing it perfectly. Now here is the part that changes everything. The panic button inside you has a trigger, but you are the one who decides what counts as an emergency. Right now, your brain has learned to treat certain things as dangerous even though they cannot actually hurt you. Someone disagreeing with you is not dangerous. Making a mistake at work is not dangerous. Being late to an appointment is not dangerous. But if your brain has learned to treat these things as threats, your body will respond exactly as if a tiger were in the room. The good news is that brains can learn new things. You can teach your brain that these everyday events are not emergencies. You can retrain your panic button to only go off when real danger is present. This takes time and practice, but every time you pause instead of reacting, you are teaching your brain a powerful new lesson. You are telling it that you are safe, and it can calm down now. Let me give you a simple tool that will help you in the heat of the moment when the panic button has already been pressed. The tool is called a pause, and it is the most powerful weapon you have against automatic reactions. When you feel that rush of emotion, when your heart starts racing and your thoughts start spinning, do absolutely nothing for just 5 seconds. Do not speak, do not move, do not send that message, do not make that decision. Just breathe and wait. Those 5 seconds give your thinking brain just enough time to come back online. They give you a tiny window between the feeling and the action, and that window is where your freedom lives. In those 5 seconds, you can choose a different response. You can choose to be calm instead of angry. You can choose to be kind instead of cruel. You can choose to walk away instead of fighting. The pause is small, but it is powerful enough to change your entire life. Think of your panic button like a smoke alarm in your kitchen. A good smoke alarm will go off when you burn your toast, even though there is no real fire. You would never rip the alarm off the wall just because it makes mistakes sometimes. Instead, you wave a towel at it to clear the air and wait for it to stop. Your emotional alarms work the same way. They will sometimes go off for burnt toast instead of real fires, and that is okay. Your job is not to get rid of the alarm entirely. Your job is to learn how to wave the towel. The towel is your breath, your pause, your awareness that this is not a real emergency. When you can calmly tell yourself, this is just burnt toast, not a real fire, your body will slowly learn to relax. The alarm will stop ringing, and you will be left standing in your kitchen, safe and sound, with nothing actually burning at all. The most exciting part about understanding your panic button is that you can start practicing when things are calm. You do not have to wait for a stressful moment to build this skill. Every time you take a deep breath during a quiet moment, you are strengthening the pathway in your brain that leads to calm choices. Every time you notice a small irritation and choose to let it go, you are teaching your brain that not everything needs a big reaction. You are building a new habit of pausing, and that habit will be there waiting for you when the big storms come. The goal is not to never feel the panic again, because you will. You are human. The goal is to have such a strong pause habit that the panic becomes just a passing feeling instead of a life-controlling force. You are learning to be the one in charge of your reactions, and that is a power that no one can ever take away from you. Chapter 4. The pause button, the magic of taking a breath. Imagine having a remote control for your emotions. Imagine that in the middle of a stressful moment, you could simply press a button and everything would slow down just enough for you to think clearly. The beautiful truth is that you already have this remote control, and it is attached to your own breath. Your breath is the bridge between your body and your mind, and it works faster than any other tool you have. When you are stressed, your breathing becomes fast and shallow. When you are calm, your breathing becomes slow and deep. The amazing thing is that this works in both directions. If you force your breath to become slow and deep, your body will actually believe that you are calm. Your heart rate will slow down, your muscles will relax, and your thinking brain will come back online. You can literally trick your own nervous system into feeling safe just by changing the way you breathe. Let me teach you a breathing technique that is so simple you can do it anywhere, anytime, and no one will even notice. It is called the long exhale, and it works like magic every single time. All you have to do is breathe in normally through your nose, and then breathe out slowly through your mouth for longer than you breathed in. That is it. The exhale is what tells your body that everything is okay because you only exhale slowly when you feel safe. Think about how a baby breathes when it is sleeping peacefully, long, slow breaths in and out. Think about how you breathe when you are lying in bed relaxed. Your exhale is naturally longer than your inhale. You can use this simple trick anytime you feel pressure building. Just one long exhale can be enough to stop the panic button from taking over completely. It gives you that tiny window of calm you need to choose your next move wisely. Now I want you to practice something with me right now, even if you are just reading these words. Put the book down for a moment and take a breath in through your nose for 4 seconds. Now hold it for just 1 second. Now breathe out through your mouth for 6 seconds, making sure the exhale is longer than the inhale. Did you feel your shoulders drop just a little bit? Did you notice your mind getting just slightly quieter? That is the magic of the pause button working in real time. You do not need special equipment or years of practice to make this work. You just need to remember that your breath is always with you, always available, and always ready to help. The more you practice this simple exercise during calm moments, the easier it will be to remember it when the storm hits. You are building a reflex that will save you hundreds of times over the course of your life. There is another reason why the pause button works so well, and it has to do with the way your brain processes time. When you are reacting automatically, you are living completely in the present moment with no awareness of the future. Your brain thinks this feeling is going to last forever because it is not looking ahead. But when you take a breath and create a pause, you remind your brain that time is passing. You remind yourself that feelings come and go like waves on the shore. The anger you feel right now will not be as strong in 5 minutes. The anxiety you feel right now will fade as soon as the situation passes. The sadness you feel right now will lift, maybe not today, but eventually. The pause gives you just enough distance from the feeling to remember that feelings are temporary. They visit you, but they do not have to move in and take over your whole house. Let me share a secret about the pause that most people never discover. The pause does not have to be long to be powerful. In fact, sometimes a pause that is too long can make you overthink and get stuck in your head. A good pause is just long enough to remind you that you have a choice. It is like pressing the space bar on a video, just stopping the action for a moment before you decide whether to keep watching or turn it off. You do not need to meditate for 20 minutes in the middle of an argument. You just need one breath, maybe two, to create enough space for wisdom to enter. In that tiny space, you can remember who you want to be in this situation. You can remember that you love this person even though you are angry at them right now. You can remember that this problem is not worth losing your peace over. The pause gives you access to your best self, and your best self is always calmer and wiser than your reactive self. The most beautiful thing about building your pause button is that it gets stronger with every single use. The first time you remember to breathe instead of react, it might feel awkward and you might still react anyway. That is okay. You are building a new muscle. The 10th time you try, it will feel a little more natural. The 100th time, it will start to become automatic. Your brain is literally creating new pathways every time you choose the pause over the reaction. You are rewiring yourself for calm, and that is one of the most powerful things a human being can do. One day, you will find yourself in a situation that would have destroyed your peace in the past, and you will notice that you are still standing calm and steady. You will realize that the pause has become part of who you are, not just something you do, but something you have become. And in that moment, you will know that all the practice was worth it. Chapter 5. Talking to yourself like a friend, not an enemy. Close your eyes for a moment and listen to the voice inside your head. What is it saying right now? Is it telling you that you are doing a good job? Is it encouraging you to keep going? Or is it pointing out everything you have done wrong today? For most people, that inner voice is surprisingly mean. It says things we would never say to someone we love. It calls us stupid when we make a mistake. It tells us we are not good enough when we compare ourselves to others. It whispers that we will fail before we even try. This voice has been with us for so long that we do not even notice how cruel it has become. We have accepted its harsh words as the truth, but they are not the truth at all. They are just old habits of thinking that we learned somewhere along the way, and the exciting news is that habits can be changed. Imagine for a moment that your best friend came to you feeling sad about a mistake they made. What would you say to them? Would you tell them they are stupid and useless? Of course not. You would put your arm around them and say something kind. You would remind them that everyone makes mistakes. You would tell them that they are still wonderful and worthy of love. You would encourage them to try again. Now here is the question that could change your whole life. Why do you treat yourself worse than you treat your friends? Why do you save your harshest words for the person who needs your kindness the most? You have been living with yourself every single day of your life, and you deserve the same compassion you so freely give to others. Learning to talk to yourself like a friend is not selfish. It is essential. It is the foundation of emotional strength because you cannot build a fortress on ground that is constantly attacking itself. Let me give you a simple exercise that will help you hear your inner voice more clearly. For the next 3 days, carry a small notebook or use your phone to write down the things you say to yourself. Do not judge them, just notice them. You might be shocked by what you discover. You might realize that you call yourself an idiot 10 times a day. You might notice that you tell yourself you are lazy every time you rest. You might see that you compare yourself to others constantly, always finding yourself lacking. Seeing these thoughts written down takes away their power. They are no longer invisible forces controlling you from the shadows. They are just words on a page, and words can be challenged. When you see, "I am so stupid," written down, you can ask yourself, would I say this to my best friend? Is this even true? Is there another way to see this situation? That simple act of questioning is the beginning of changing your inner conversation forever. Now I want you to try something new. The next time you make a mistake, I want you to pause and deliberately say something kind to yourself. It will feel strange at first because you are not used to it. Your inner critic might even laugh at you for trying, but say it anyway. Say it is okay, everyone makes mistakes. Say you are still learning and learning takes time. Say this does not define who you are. Say it out loud if you can, because hearing kind words with your own ears makes them more real. Your brain does not know the difference between someone else speaking to you and you speaking to yourself. When you hear kindness, your brain releases chemicals that help you feel safe and calm. You are literally changing your brain chemistry by changing the way you talk to yourself. The more you practice, the more natural it will become, until one day you realize that your inner voice has become your biggest supporter instead of your harshest critic. There is a reason why this inner voice became so mean in the first place, and understanding it helps you have compassion for yourself. Somewhere along the way, you learned that being hard on yourself would make you better. Maybe a parent or teacher pushed you with harsh words, and you absorbed their voice as your own. Maybe you experienced failure and decided that punishing yourself would prevent it from happening again. Maybe you live in a world that celebrates perfection, and you feel like you have to meet impossible standards to be worthy. Whatever the reason, your inner critic genuinely believes it is helping you. It thinks that if it stops pushing, you will stop trying. But the truth is exactly the opposite. People who speak kindly to themselves actually achieve more because they are not wasting energy on self-hatred. They have more confidence to try new things and more resilience to get back up when they fall. Kindness is not weakness. It is the secret weapon of the strong. Let me share a final thought about changing your inner voice that might surprise you. You do not have to believe the kind words right away for them to work. You just have to say them. Think of it like planting seeds in a garden. When you first put a seed in the ground, you cannot see anything happening. But underground, roots are starting to grow. The same is true for kind self-talk. The first 100 times you say something kind to yourself, it might feel fake and your inner critic might scream louder to be heard. But underneath the surface, new beliefs are taking root. One day, you will make a mistake and automatically think, "It is okay. I am still learning," without even trying. That is the moment you know the seed has grown into a flower. That is the moment you realize you have become your own best friend, and that is a friendship that will last for the rest of your life. Chapter 6. The Anchor Finding Your One Steady Thing. Imagine you are on a boat in the middle of a huge storm. The waves are crashing against the sides, the wind is howling, and the boat is rocking so hard you can barely stand. In the middle of all that chaos, there is one thing keeping you from being swept away: the anchor. The anchor sits deep below the surface, holding onto something solid, keeping the whole boat steady no matter how rough the water gets. You need an emotional anchor in your life, something that stays steady when everything else is shaking. This anchor can be different for different people. It might be a person who always makes you feel safe. It might be a place where you feel completely at home. It might be a memory that reminds you of who you really are. It might be a belief or a value that you hold more important than anything else. Whatever it is, your anchor is the thing you can hold onto when the storm tries to take you under. Let me tell you about a woman who discovered her anchor in the most unexpected way. She was going through a terrible divorce, losing friends, and struggling at work. Everything in her life felt like it was falling apart. One night, she was so overwhelmed that she sat on her kitchen floor and cried for hours. In the middle of all that pain, she looked up and saw her grandmother's old mixing bowl sitting on the counter. That bowl had been in her family for 3 generations. Her grandmother had used it to make cookies for her when she was a little girl. Her mother had used it to teach her how to bake. Suddenly, that simple bowl became her anchor. It reminded her that she came from a long line of strong women who had survived hard times. It reminded her that she was loved, and that love does not disappear just because relationships end. That bowl did not solve her problems, but it gave her something steady to hold onto while she figured out how to solve them herself. Your anchor might not be a mixing bowl, but it is out there waiting for you to find it. Finding your anchor requires you to pay attention to the moments when you already feel calm and steady. Think about the last time you felt completely at peace. Where were you? Who were you with? What were you doing? The answers to these questions are clues pointing toward your anchor. Maybe you feel most like yourself when you are walking in the woods, surrounded by trees that have stood for hundreds of years. Maybe you feel most steady when you are sitting with your pet, feeling their warm body against yours. Maybe you feel most calm when you are listening to a certain song that your grandfather used to sing. These are not random preferences. They are signposts pointing toward the deep places in your soul where peace already lives. Your job is to notice these moments and then intentionally return to them when the storm comes. You are building a bridge between your calm moments and your chaotic moments, so you can cross that bridge whenever you need to. Now here is something important about anchors that most people do not understand. Your anchor does not have to be big or impressive to work. In fact, the simplest anchors are often the most powerful because they are always available. A deep breath can be an anchor. The feeling of your feet on the floor can be an anchor. A single word like peace, or love, or enough can be an anchor that you repeat quietly to yourself. These tiny anchors are always with you, no matter where you go or what happens. You cannot lose them and no one can take them away. When you feel the storm rising, you can close your eyes and feel your feet on the ground. You can take one breath and remember that you are still here, still alive, still breathing. You can whisper your word and remind yourself of what really matters. These small anchors might seem too simple to work, but simplicity is exactly what makes them so powerful. In the middle of chaos, simple is the only thing that can save you. Let me share a practice that will help you strengthen your connection to your anchor. Every morning before you get out of bed, take 1 minute to connect with your steady thing. If your anchor is a person, send them a silent blessing in your mind. If your anchor is a place, close your eyes and visit it for just a moment. If your anchor is a word, say it to yourself 3 times slowly. This tiny morning ritual does something amazing. It reminds your brain, right at the start of the day, that you have something steady to hold onto. It plants a flag in the ground that says, "This is what matters, this is what is real." Then, when something stressful happens later in the day, your brain already knows where to go for steadiness. The path to your anchor has been walked already, and it is easier to walk again. You are building a habit of anchoring, and habits are what save us when thinking becomes too hard. The most beautiful thing about your anchor is that it grows stronger the more you use it. The first time you reach for your anchor in a storm, it might feel weak and you might still feel scared. That is okay. You are just learning. The 10th time you reach for it, you will notice that the fear does not last as long. The 100th time, reaching for your anchor will be automatic, like breathing. You will find yourself in a meeting that would have sent you into a panic years ago, and you will feel your feet on the floor and remember that you are safe. You will face a loss that would have destroyed you before, and you will feel the love of your anchor person wrapping around you like a warm blanket. Your anchor does not make the storm go away, but it keeps you from being swept away by it. And in the end, that is all any of us can ask for. Chapter 7, The So What? Mindset Shrinking Your Problems. Have you ever noticed how big problems can seem in the middle of the night? You lie awake at 3 in the morning, and that mistake you made at work feels like the end of the world. That argument with your friend feels like a permanent crack in your relationship. That worry about the future feels like a guarantee that everything will go wrong. But then morning comes, and somehow the same problems look smaller in the daylight. The sun comes up, and you realize that the world did not end while you were sleeping. This happens because problems have a way of growing in the dark, especially when we feed them with our attention and fear. The so what? Mindset is a tool that brings daylight to your problems anytime you need it. It is a simple question that shrinks your worries down to their real size so you can see them clearly and handle them wisely. Let me explain how the so what question works in real life. Imagine you are walking into a room full of people and you suddenly feel nervous. Your mind starts racing with thoughts like, "Everyone is looking at me, and I'm going to say something stupid." Now ask yourself the first so what? So what if they are looking at you? They are probably just curious or bored, not judging you. So what if you say something stupid? Everyone says stupid things sometimes, and most people will forget it in 5 minutes anyway. So what if they remember? Their memory of you does not define who you actually are. See how the question keeps going until you reach something that actually matters. You might end up at, "So what if they do not like me?" And the answer is, "Then I will find people who do like me for who I am." The so what question is like a shovel that digs down through layers of fear until it hits solid ground. And on that solid ground, you can finally stand without shaking. Now I want you to try this with a problem you are facing right now. Pick something that has been bothering you, maybe something small or maybe something bigger. Now ask yourself, "So what?" and answer honestly. Then ask it again and again and again. Keep going until you cannot ask it anymore, until you reach a place where the answer is genuinely nothing, or "I will handle it." You might be surprised how quickly the mountain becomes a molehill. That fear of being late to a meeting becomes, "So what if I am late? I will apologize and explain." That fear of failing a test becomes, "So what if I fail? I can study more and try again." That fear of losing a friend becomes, "So what if they leave? It hurts, but I have survived loss before and I will survive again." The question does not make the problem disappear, but it removes the extra weight of fear and panic that makes problems feel unbearable. You are left with just the problem itself, and problems are much easier to solve when they are not wrapped in terror. There is a reason why this simple question works so well, and it has to do with the way our brains are wired. We are designed to notice threats and blow them up in our minds because, for most of human history, missing a real threat could mean death. Your brain is just doing its job when it makes small problems feel huge. It is trying to protect you by making sure you pay attention. But in the modern world, this protection system works against us because most of our threats are not life-threatening. The "so what" question interrupts this automatic magnification process. It forces your brain to look at the problem from a different angle, to see it in the context of your whole life instead of just this moment. When your brain sees that this problem is not actually going to kill you, it can calm down and start thinking clearly again. You are not fighting your brain, you are just giving it better information to work with. Let me share a story about a man who used the "so what" mindset to overcome one of his biggest fears. He was terrified of public speaking, so terrified that he had turned down promotions at work to avoid giving presentations. One day, his boss told him he had to give a talk or he would lose his job. He had no choice left. In his panic, he started asking himself, "So what? So what if I am nervous? Nervous is normal and people expect it. So what if I forget what to say? I can look at my notes and keep going. So what if people judge me? Their judgment does not pay my bills or define my worth. So what if I completely fail? The world will keep spinning and I will still have my family and my health." By the time he finished asking the questions, his fear had shrunk from a monster to a manageable size. He gave the presentation, he was nervous, he made a few mistakes, and absolutely nothing terrible happened. The "so what" mindset had freed him from a prison he had built in his own mind. The most exciting thing about this tool is that you can use it for anything, anytime, anywhere. You do not need special conditions or a quiet room. You can ask yourself, "So what?" in the middle of an argument, and it will immediately remind you that winning this argument is not as important as keeping your peace. You can ask it during a job interview when you feel your confidence slipping, and it will remind you that this is just one opportunity among many. You can ask it when you are lying in bed at 3 in the morning, and it will start shrinking those midnight monsters back down to their normal size. The more you practice this question, the faster your brain will learn to ask it automatically. One day, you will feel fear rising, and your mind will instantly respond with, "So what?" before you even have to think about it. That is the day you know you have built something unshakable inside yourself. Chapter 8. The Balloon and the Pin, Letting Go of What Others Think. Imagine holding a beautiful red balloon in your hand. It represents your happiness, your peace, your sense of being enough just as you are. Now imagine that you have handed the string of that balloon to everyone you meet. You have given your boss the power to pop your balloon with a harsh word. You have given your friend the power to pop it by canceling plans. You have given a stranger on the internet the power to pop it with a rude comment. Every time someone says or does something you do not like, they can grab that pin and destroy your happiness in an instant. This is how most people live their whole lives, handing the string of their balloon to anyone who wants it. They give away their power to feel good, and then they wonder why they are always deflated. The secret to becoming unshakable is simple. Stop handing out the string. Keep your balloon in your own hands, and suddenly no one can pop it unless you let them. Let me ask you a question that might sting a little, but it is important. Why do you care so much about what strangers think of you? Think about the last time you worried about someone's opinion. Was it someone you love and respect? Probably not. Most of the time, we worry about people we do not even like, people whose values do not match ours, people who have no idea who we really are. We give away our power to strangers, to coworkers we barely know, to people on social media who have never met us. This makes no sense when you think about it, but we do it anyway because we are wired to want belonging. Thousands of years ago, being rejected from the tribe meant death, so our brains learned to care deeply about what others think. That ancient wiring is still inside you, but the tribe is gone. You can survive without the approval of people who do not matter. You can learn to hold your own balloon and keep it safe from hands that do not deserve to touch it. Now I want you to try a simple experiment that might change your whole perspective. For one day, I want you to notice how little you think about other people's mistakes. When your coworker says something awkward in a meeting, how long do you really think about it? When a stranger on the street wears something unusual, do you go home and dwell on it all night? Of course not. You are too busy thinking about your own life to spend much time judging others. Here is the truth that sets you free. Other people are exactly the same. They are so busy thinking about themselves that they barely notice you at all. That embarrassing thing you said 3 years ago. No one remembers it but you. That mistake you made at work last week. Everyone else has already forgotten because they are worried about their own mistakes. You are the star of your own movie, but you are just a background character in everyone else's. Realizing this is like taking the pin away from everyone who ever tried to pop your balloon. Let me share a story about a young woman who learned this lesson in a powerful way. She was so afraid of being judged that she barely spoke in public. She dressed to be invisible and avoided any situation where she might be noticed. One day, she decided to do something completely different. She went to a busy park and wore a bright yellow hat that she loved but was terrified to wear. She sat on a bench and waited for people to stare or laugh. And you know what happened? Almost nothing. A few people glanced at her. Most people did not even look up from their phones. After an hour, she realized that the whole world was not watching her at all. She had been living in a prison of her own making, a prison built from the false belief that everyone cared about what she did. When she finally walked out of that prison, she felt lighter than she had in years. She still wears that yellow hat sometimes, and every time she does, she smiles at the freedom she found. There is another piece of this puzzle that is even more important than realizing others are not watching you. Even when people do judge you, their judgment is almost always about them, not about you. Think about it. If someone calls you ugly, that is a reflection of their own issues with appearance. If someone calls you stupid, that is a reflection of their own fear of being seen as unintelligent. If someone says you are not good enough, that is their own insecurity talking, not the truth about you. People see the world through a filter of their own experiences, their own pain, their own fears. Their opinion of you tells you far more about them than it tells you about yourself. When you understand this deeply, other people's words lose their power to hurt you. You can hear their criticism and think, that is interesting. I wonder what is going on with them today, instead of, oh no, they must be right about me. You keep your balloon safe because you know that their pin is just a reflection of their own storm. The most exciting part about letting go of what others think is the freedom it gives you to finally be yourself. When you stop trying to please everyone, you discover who you actually are. You find out what you like, what you believe, what makes you happy when no one is watching. You start wearing the clothes you love instead of the clothes that hide you. You start saying what you really think instead of what you think people want to hear. You start living your life for yourself, and that is when life becomes truly exciting. The people who matter will not mind, and the people who mind do not matter. This is not just a clever saying. It is the key to a whole new way of living. Your balloon is yours and yours alone. Hold it close, keep it safe, and let everyone else worry about their own balloons. You have better things to do than hand out pins to people who do not deserve them. Chapter 9. The Comeback Code: How to Get Up When You Fall. Life is going to knock you down. This is not a pessimistic thought, it is just a fact of being human. You will fail at something you tried hard to succeed at. You will lose someone you love deeply. You will make a mistake that costs you more than you wanted to pay. These moments are not the end of your story, they are just the middle. The question that matters is not whether you will fall, because you will. The question is how quickly you will get back up. Some people fall and stay down for years, letting one failure define their whole life. Others fall and get up so fast that the fall becomes just a small bump in a long journey of success. The difference between these two kinds of people is not luck or talent. It is a code, a set of steps they follow every time they hit the ground. This chapter is going to give you that code so you can start getting up faster than ever before. The first step in the comeback code is to feel the fall completely. This might sound like the opposite of what you should do, but it is actually the secret to getting up fast. When you fall, your first instinct is often to pretend it did not hurt, to brush it off and act like nothing happened. But feelings that are not felt do not go away, They just hide underneath the surface and come back later even stronger. So the first thing you do is let yourself feel it. Cry if you need to cry. Be angry if you need to be angry. Sit in the sadness for a little while and let it wash over you. This is not staying down. This is just processing what happened so you can truly move on. Think of it like cleaning a wound before you put a bandage on it. If you just cover up a dirty wound, it will get infected and cause more problems later. Feel the fall completely, and then you will be ready for the next step. The second step is to ask yourself what you can learn. Every fall carries a lesson if you are willing to look for it. Maybe you learned that you need more preparation before big challenges. Maybe you learned that this particular path was not right for you. Maybe you learned something about yourself, how strong you are, how much you care, how much you are willing to risk. The lesson might be painful, but it is also precious because it is something you will carry with you forever. People who never fall never learn these lessons. They stay exactly where they are, never growing, never becoming more than they already are. You fell, but you also gained wisdom that only comes from falling. Write the lesson down if you can, speak it out loud, make it real. This lesson is the treasure you found in the darkness, and it will light your way forward. The third step is to separate the fall from your identity. This is so important that I need you to read it twice. You are not your failure. You are a person who failed at something, and those are two completely different things. Failing at a job does not make you a failure as a human being. Losing a relationship does not make you unlovable. Making a bad choice does not make you a bad person. When you confuse what you did with who you are, you stay down because you believe there is no point in getting up. Why try again if you are fundamentally broken? But you are not broken. You are just a normal person who hit a bump in the road. The fall was an event, not an identity. Keep those two things separate in your mind, and you will find the strength to rise again. The fourth step is to take one small action forward. Not a huge leap, not a grand gesture, just one tiny step in the direction of getting up. Maybe that step is making a phone call to ask for help. Maybe it is getting out of bed and taking a shower. Maybe it is writing down one thing you can try differently next time. This small action sends a powerful message to your brain. It says, we are moving forward, we are not staying here. Momentum is a mysterious force, and once you create even a tiny bit of it, it starts to build on itself. One step becomes 2 steps, becomes 10 steps, becomes a whole new path. Do not worry about how far you have to go. Just worry about taking that first small step today. Tomorrow, you can take another one. Before you know it, you will look back and realize that the fall is far behind you. The final step in the comeback code is to share your story with someone who needs to hear it. When you get back up, you become a light for others who are still on the ground. Your comeback becomes their hope. There is something magical about taking your pain and turning it into purpose. It transforms the fall from something that only hurt you into something that can help others. You do not have to stand on a stage and tell the whole world. Just find one person who is struggling and say, I have been there too, and I made it through. In that moment, you are not just getting up, you are reaching back to help someone else rise. That is the highest form of strength there is. That is the final step of the code, and it turns your fall into a foundation for something beautiful. Chapter 10. The Stormproof Shield, Dealing with Difficult People. Difficult people are everywhere, and they seem to have a special gift for finding us on our most vulnerable days. There is the coworker who criticizes everything you do. There is the family member who knows exactly which buttons to push. There is the friend who drains your energy every time you talk to them. There is the stranger on the internet who leaves cruel comments for no reason. These people can feel like storms that blow through your life, leaving damage behind them. But what if you could build a shield that protects you from their words and their energy? What if you could stand in the middle of their storm and feel nothing but calm? This is not a fantasy, it is a skill that you can learn. The Stormproof Shield is real, and this chapter will teach you how to build it. The first thing you need to understand about difficult people is that their behavior is almost never about you. I know this is hard to believe when someone is yelling at you or treating you badly, but it is true. Difficult people are difficult because of what is going on inside them, not because of you. They carry their own pain, their own insecurities, their own fears. When they lash out, they are just dumping their garbage on whoever is nearby. If you happen to be the person standing closest when they need to dump, you become the target. But the garbage was never yours to begin with. Understanding this changes everything. When someone attacks you, you can silently say to yourself, "This is not about me, this is about their own stuff." That thought alone is the first layer of your stormproof shield. Now let me teach you a simple technique for dealing with difficult people in the moment. Imagine that there is a bubble around you, a protective shield that their words cannot penetrate. When they speak, their words hit the bubble and slide off, falling to the ground where they cannot hurt you. You can see their words, you can hear them, but you do not have to let them inside. This is not about ignoring what they say or pretending you do not care. It is about choosing which words get to enter your heart. You are the gatekeeper of your own soul, and you get to decide what comes in. Their angry words are just noise until you let them become something more. Practice this visualization the next time someone tries to upset you. See their words hitting your bubble and falling away. Feel the safety of being protected. You are not powerless, you are just choosing not to let them in. There is another layer to the stormproof shield that is even more powerful, and it is called compassion. I know this sounds strange, having compassion for someone who is hurting you. But compassion is actually the strongest shield of all because it removes the poison from their words. When you can look at a difficult person and think, "Wow, they must be in so much pain to act like this," something shifts inside you. You stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like an observer. You see their behavior as a symptom of their own suffering, not as an attack on you. This does not mean you let them treat you badly or that you stay in harmful situations. It just means you protect your own heart by understanding that hurt people hurt people. Their cruelty is a cry for help, even if they do not know it. And you, safely behind your shield, can hear that cry without being wounded by it. Let me share a story about a man who used this shield to transform a terrible work situation. His boss was a nightmare, constantly yelling, criticizing, and making everyone miserable. For years, this man went home every night feeling angry and defeated. Then he learned about the stormproof shield, and he decided to try something different. The next time his boss exploded, he silently said to himself, "This man is drowning in his own fear, and I am just the nearest person to grab onto." He saw his boss not as a monster but as a struggling human being. This shift did not change his boss's behavior, but it completely changed how the man felt about it. He stopped taking the yelling personally. He stopped carrying it home with him. He even started feeling a little bit of pity for someone so miserable that they had to treat others that way. The shield did not make the storm go away, but it made him safe inside it. The final piece of the stormproof shield is knowing when to walk away. Some people are not just having a bad day, they are toxic in a way that will drain you no matter how strong your shield is. There is no shame in leaving a conversation, ending a friendship, or changing jobs to protect your peace. Your shield is for the unavoidable storms, the difficult people you cannot escape. But if you can escape, sometimes that is the best choice. You do not have to stay in the rain just to prove your shield works. Protecting your peace is not weakness, it is wisdom. So build your shield strong for the storms you must face, and also give yourself permission to walk away from storms that will never stop. You deserve calm waters, and sometimes the only way to find them is to leave the storm behind. Chapter 11. The Pressure Cooker, Staying Cool When the Stakes Are High. We all face moments when the stakes are high and the pressure feels unbearable. A job interview that could change your future. A conversation that could make or break a relationship. A performance where everyone is watching. In these moments, your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind goes blank. It feels like you are in a pressure cooker, and any second you might explode. But here is the truth that most people never learn. Pressure does not have to make you fall apart. In fact, the same pressure that destroys some people can make others perform better than they ever have before. The difference is not the situation. It is what you do in the moments leading up to it. This chapter will give you a simple routine to follow before any high-stakes moment so you can stay cool when it matters most. The first thing to do when you know a pressure moment is coming is to prepare your body. Remember what we learned about the panic button. Your body will start reacting to the perceived threat long before the moment actually arrives. This is normal, but you can counteract it with simple physical actions. The night before your big moment, make sure you sleep. Even if you cannot sleep perfectly, just resting your body helps. The morning of, eat something that gives you steady energy, not just sugar that will crash later. Right before the moment, take those long exhales we talked about and feel your feet on the ground. These physical preparations tell your body that you are safe. They lower the baseline of your stress so that when the pressure hits, you are not already at your breaking point. You are starting from calm instead of starting from panic. The second step is to prepare your mind, and this is where most people make a critical mistake. They spend the hours before a big moment imagining everything that could go wrong. They picture themselves failing, forgetting their words being judged. Their minds are running horror movies, and then they wonder why they feel terrified when the moment comes. You would never watch a scary movie right before bed if you wanted to sleep peacefully, so why do you watch scary mental movies before a big presentation? Instead, you need to run a different movie in your mind. Close your eyes and imagine yourself succeeding. See yourself speaking clearly and confidently. Feel the calm in your body as you handle every question with ease. Hear the applause or see the smiles. Your brain does not know the difference between imagination and reality, so when you imagine success, you are actually training your brain to feel calm and capable. You are rehearsing for victory instead of rehearsing for failure. Now let me share a secret that will change how you think about pressure forever. The feelings of nervousness and excitement are almost identical in your body. Racing heart, sweaty palms, butterflies in your stomach. The only difference is the label you put on them. If you tell yourself, "I am so nervous, this is terrible," your body will respond with fear. But if you tell yourself, "I am so excited, my body is getting ready to perform," your body will respond with energy and focus. You can literally choose whether to interpret your body's signals as fear or as excitement. The next time you feel those pre-pressure feelings, try saying out loud, "I am excited. My body is getting ready to do something important." Say it with confidence even if you do not fully believe it yet. Your brain will start to shift, and the same energy that would have made you shaky will now make you sharp and ready. There is one more piece of the pressure routine that is absolutely essential, and it is about remembering what really matters. In the middle of high-stakes moments, we forget that our worth is not on the line. This job interview does not determine if you are a valuable human being. This presentation does not decide if you are good enough. This conversation does not define your entire future. These moments matter, yes, but they are not the whole story of your life. Take a moment before you step into the pressure to remind yourself of this truth. Say to yourself, "I am enough, no matter what happens here. I have people who love me. I have survived hard things before. This is just one moment in a long life." This reminder takes the impossible weight off your shoulders and leaves you with just the normal weight of a challenge. And normal weight is much easier to carry. The final step of the pressure routine is to take action before you feel ready. Most people wait until they feel calm to start, but calm often only comes after you begin. The butterflies in your stomach will settle once you start flying. So take a deep breath, remind yourself that you are excited and step forward. The first few seconds might feel awkward, but then something magical happens. Your training kicks in, your brain focuses on the task, and the pressure fades into the background. You realize that you are actually doing it, you are handling it, you are okay. The pressure cooker opens, and you step out not burned but stronger than before. And the next time a high-stakes moment comes, you will remember this feeling. You will know that you can handle it because you have handled it before. That memory becomes your new foundation, and each success makes the next one easier. Chapter 12. Your energy moat protecting your peace. Imagine a castle with a wide moat around it. The moat keeps unwanted visitors away from the walls. It gives the people inside space to breathe and feel safe. You need an energy moat around your life, a protective barrier that keeps out the things and people that drain you. Your energy is the most precious resource you have. It is what allows you to be kind, to work hard, to love deeply, to enjoy life. When your energy is drained, everything becomes harder. Small problems feel huge. Kindness feels exhausting. Joy feels out of reach. Yet most of us let anyone and anything cross our moat whenever they want. We say yes to every request. We answer every message immediately. We absorb everyone else's problems. We fill our days with noise and busyness and wonder why we have nothing left for ourselves. Building an energy moat is about choosing carefully what gets to enter your castle. The first step in building your moat is identifying what drains your energy. This requires you to pay attention to how you feel after different activities and interactions. Think about the people in your life. Are there certain people who leave you feeling tired and heavy every time you talk to them? These are energy drainers, and they need to stay on the other side of your moat more often. Think about the activities in your day. Are there things you do out of obligation that leave you with nothing left for yourself? These are energy drainers too. Think about the way you spend your time online. Does scrolling through social media leave you feeling inspired or depleted? Be honest with yourself about what drains you. Write it down if it helps. You cannot protect yourself from something until you know what it is. This awareness is the first layer of your moat. Now let me be clear about something important. Building an energy moat does not mean you become cold or selfish. It does not mean you stop helping people or caring about the world. It means you become wise about where your energy goes. You cannot pour from an empty cup, as the saying goes. If you give all your energy away, you will have nothing left for the people who truly matter, including yourself. Protecting your energy is actually one of the most loving things you can do. It means that when you are with the people you love, you are fully present because you have not been drained by everyone else. It means that when you work, you have focus because you have not filled your day with distractions. It means that when you are alone, you have peace because you have not let the world invade your space. Your moat is not a wall to keep everyone out. It is a filter to let the right things in. One of the most powerful tools for building your moat is the word no. This tiny word can save you more energy than almost anything else. But for many of us, saying no feels uncomfortable. We worry about disappointing people. We worry about missing out. We worry about seeming rude. Here is the truth you need to hear. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. When you say yes to an extra project at work, you are saying no to rest. When you say yes to a social event you do not want to attend, you are saying no to time with yourself. When you say yes to every request, you are saying no to your own peace. Learning to say no is not rejection, it is prioritization. It is choosing what matters most, and the people who truly care about you will understand. They might be disappointed for a moment, but they will respect you for honoring your own needs. Another layer of your energy moat is protecting your time and attention. In today's world, everyone wants a piece of you. Your phone buzzes with notifications. Your email fills with messages. Your mind fills with worries about things that have not even happened yet. All of these things cross your moat and drain your energy unless you build barriers against them. Try turning off notifications for a day and see how much lighter you feel. Try setting specific times to check email instead of checking it all day. Try leaving your phone in another room during meals or conversations. Try saying, "I will think about that tomorrow," when a worry comes at night. These small barriers are like adding extra water to your moat. They make it harder for energy drainers to reach you. They give you space to breathe and be present in your own life. The most beautiful thing about your energy moat is that you get to decide who and what crosses it. You are the ruler of your own castle, and no one else gets a vote. You can let in people who lift you up and keep out people who drag you down. You can let in activities that fill you with joy and keep out obligations that empty you. You can let in thoughts that serve you and keep out worries that steal your peace. This is your life, and you have the right to protect it. The more you practice building your moat, the stronger it becomes. One day, you will look around and realize that your castle is filled with people and things that truly matter. Your energy is flowing toward what you love instead of leaking out in every direction. And in that castle, protected by your moat, you will finally feel the deep peace you have been searching for. Chapter 13. The Fortress Garden: Growing Happiness Inside Your Walls. You have built your emotional fortress to protect yourself from storms, and that is essential. But a fortress that is only for defense is a lonely place. You need something more inside those strong walls. You need a garden, a place where happiness grows, where beauty flourishes, where life feels warm and full. Your emotional fortress is not just a shelter from the bad, it is also a home for the good. This chapter is about planting and tending the garden inside your walls. It is about filling your protected space with joy, gratitude, love, and peace. Because being unshakable is not just about surviving the storms, it is about thriving in the sunshine. It is about building a life so full of good things that the storms, when they come, cannot touch the deepest parts of you. The first step in growing your garden is to notice what already brings you joy. We rush through our days so quickly that we miss the small moments of happiness that are already there. The taste of your morning coffee, the sound of birds outside your window, the feeling of a warm blanket on a cold night, the smile of someone you love. These moments are like tiny flowers already growing in your garden, but you have been walking right past them without stopping to enjoy them. Start paying attention to these small joys. When you notice one, pause for just a second and really feel it. Let the happiness wash over you. This pause does something amazing in your brain. It strengthens the pathways that notice joy, making it easier to find happiness in the future. You are literally training your brain to see the flowers instead of just the weeds. Now you can start planting new flowers on purpose. Think about activities that used to bring you joy but you have stopped doing. Did you love drawing when you were a child? Did you enjoy long walks in nature? Did you love playing music or cooking or reading? Somewhere along the way, life got busy and you let these things fade away. It is time to bring them back. You do not need to be good at them, you just need to enjoy them. The joy is in the doing, not in the result. Pick one activity this week that you used to love and make time for it. Even 15 minutes is enough to plant a seed. The more you water these activities with your attention, the more they will grow. Soon, your garden will be filled with things that bring you happiness, and you will have a beautiful place to rest when the world outside feels heavy. Another essential flower in your garden is gratitude. Gratitude is like sunshine for your soul. It makes everything grow better. But gratitude is not just about saying thank you for big things. It is about noticing the small gifts that are everywhere. The roof over your head, the food on your table, the fact that you can read these words, the breath moving in and out of your body. When you practice gratitude regularly, something shifts inside you. Your brain starts scanning the world for things to appreciate instead of scanning for things to worry about. You become a magnet for more reasons to be grateful. Try this simple practice for 1 week. Every night before sleep, think of 3 things you are grateful for from that day. They can be as small as a good meal or as big as a loving relationship. Do this every night and watch how your garden begins to bloom. Let me share something important about happiness that most people misunderstand. Happiness is not something that happens to you. It is something you create. Waiting for happiness to arrive is like waiting for rain to water your garden. Sometimes rain comes, but often you have to water it yourself. You have to choose joy even when circumstances are not perfect. You have to find reasons to smile even when life is hard. This does not mean pretending everything is fine when it is not. It means holding 2 truths at once. Things are difficult, and there is still beauty to be found. The flowers in your garden do not need the whole world to be perfect to grow. They just need a little water and sun. You can give yourself that water and sun through the small choices you make every day. A kind thought toward yourself. A moment of appreciation for something beautiful. A few minutes doing something you love. These are the seeds of happiness, and you have the power to plant them anytime you want. The most beautiful thing about your fortress garden is that it keeps growing over time. The more you tend it, the more flowers appear. The more you practice gratitude, the more you find to be grateful for. The more you make time for joy, the more joy finds its way to you. One day you will look around and realize that your inner world is lush and full and beautiful. The storms outside might still blow, but inside your fortress the garden is safe. The flowers are blooming. The sun is shining. And you, the gardener, are at peace. This is the reward for all your work building emotional strength. You did not just build a place to hide from the bad, you built a place to fully enjoy the good. And that is the whole point of being unshakable. It is not just about surviving, it is about truly living. Chapter 14. When the earth shakes, handling life's big quakes. Sometimes life sends more than just wind and rain. Sometimes the ground itself shakes beneath your feet. A sudden loss, a terrible diagnosis, a betrayal that breaks your heart, a failure that changes everything. These are the big earthquakes, the moments that test everything you have built. When these moments come, all the normal tools can feel small and useless. Breathing exercises might not stop the pain. Positive thinking might feel impossible. Your anchor might seem far away. This chapter is for those moments. It is a gentle hand reaching out to you when you are lying in the rubble, unsure if you can ever stand again. And the first thing I want you to know is this: it is okay to be on the ground for a while. Earthquakes knock everyone down. The goal is not to avoid falling, it is to know that you can rise again when you are ready. When the big earthquake hits, your only job in the beginning is to survive. That is it. Just get through the next hour, the next minute, the next breath if you have to. Do not worry about being strong right now. Do not worry about what anyone else thinks. Do not worry about the future. Just focus on this moment right here, right now. Can you take one breath? Good, do that. Can you drink some water? Good, do that. Can you call one person who will not try to fix you but will just sit with you? Good, do that. Survival mode is real and it is necessary. You would not ask someone with a broken leg to run a race, so do not ask yourself to be okay when your heart is broken. Let yourself be exactly where you are. The ground is shaking and you are allowed to shake with it. That is not weakness, that is honesty. As the shaking starts to slow down, you will begin to notice that you are still here. The earthquake did not destroy you completely. You are battered and bruised, but you are breathing. This is the moment when you can start looking around at the rubble and asking what is left. Often, when the big earthquakes hit, we lose things we thought were essential, but we also discover things we did not know we had. You might lose a relationship and discover how strong you are alone. You might lose a job and discover skills you never used before. You might lose your health and discover a depth of gratitude for small things. The rubble is not just destruction, it is also revelation. It shows you what was truly unshakable all along. And often what you find is yourself. The real you, stripped of everything extra, still standing, still breathing, still here. One of the most important things you can do after an earthquake is let others help you. We are taught to be independent, to handle our own problems, to not be a burden. But big earthquakes are too much for one person to handle alone. Let your people in. Let them bring you food even if you are not hungry. Let them sit with you even if you have nothing to say. Let them hold you even if you feel unholdable. Humans are wired for connection, and connection is medicine for the deepest wounds. You do not have to tell everyone everything, just let a few trusted souls be near you. Their presence will remind you that you are not alone in the rubble. There are hands reaching out to help you up when you are ready to stand. And one day, you will be the hands reaching out to someone else. Healing from a big earthquake takes time, and time cannot be rushed. You will have good days when you think you are okay, and then something will trigger the pain and you will be right back in the rubble. This is normal. This is how healing works. Grief and loss do not move in a straight line, they circle around like seasons. Some days will feel like spring, full of hope. Other days will feel like winter, cold and barren. Both are part of the process. Be patient with yourself. Do not set a deadline for when you should be better. Do not compare your healing to anyone else's. Your earthquake was yours alone, and your recovery will be yours alone too. Trust that the seasons will keep turning, that spring always comes again, even after the longest winter. The ground will steady. The shaking will stop. And you will find yourself standing on new ground, changed but still here, still you. Chapter 15. Teaching others to be fortresses. You have spent this whole book learning to build your own emotional fortress. You have found your cracks and repaired them. You have built your walls and dug your moat. You have planted your garden and learned to weather the storms. You have become someone unshakable. But your journey does not end here. The final step of becoming truly strong is turning around and helping others build their own fortresses. There is something magical that happens when you teach. The lessons you have learned become deeper and more real. The tools you have collected become sharper and more useful. And the people you help become part of your own support system, a community of strong souls standing together against the storms. This chapter is about how to share what you have learned without preaching, without pushing, just by being yourself and offering your hand. The first way you teach others is simply by living differently. People notice when you stay calm in situations that used to upset you. They notice when you do not react to their provocations. They notice when you seem peaceful even when life is hard. Your example is more powerful than any lecture you could give. Someone in your life is watching you right now, wondering how you have changed, wishing they could have what you have. You do not need to say a word to teach them. Just keep being your steady self. Keep breathing through the hard moments. Keep protecting your peace. Keep getting back up when you fall. Your life is a living lesson, and the people around you are learning from it every single day. You are already teaching, even if you do not realize it. When someone asks you how you have changed, that is your invitation to share more. And when that moment comes, the most important thing is to keep it simple. Do not overwhelm them with everything you have learned. Do not make them feel bad for not being as far along as you are. Just share one small thing that helped you. Maybe it is the pause button, taking a breath before reacting. Maybe it is the "so what" question that shrinks problems. Maybe it is the anchor that keeps you steady. Share it like you are sharing a gift, not like you are giving a lesson. Say, "This one thing helped me, maybe it will help you too." Leave the rest up to them. People learn best when they feel safe and supported, not when they feel judged or pressured. Your gentleness will open doors that your words alone could never open. Another powerful way to teach is by creating spaces where people feel safe to be themselves. This could be as simple as being the person who does not gossip, so others know they can trust you. It could be as simple as listening without trying to fix everything, so others feel heard. It could be as simple as admitting your own struggles, so others know they are not alone in theirs. When you create this kind of space, people naturally open up. They start asking questions. They start sharing their own battles. And in that sharing, healing begins. You do not have to have all the answers. You just have to be present and real. Your own vulnerability becomes a bridge that others can cross to find their own strength. You are not their teacher. You are their fellow traveler, walking beside them on the path. There is one more thing to remember as you teach others. You are still learning too. You will still have days when your walls shake and your garden feels dry. You will still face storms that test everything you have built. This does not make you a hypocrite or a failure. It makes you human. And your humanity is actually your greatest teaching tool. When others see you struggle and still get back up, they learn that struggle is normal. When they see you feel sad and still find joy, they learn that both can exist together. When they see you fall and rise again, they learn that falling is not the end. Your ongoing journey is the most honest lesson you can offer. You are not a finished fortress. You are a fortress still being built. And that is exactly the kind of teacher the world needs. The final gift of teaching others is that it strengthens your own fortress in ways nothing else can. Every time you explain the pause button to someone, you understand it better yourself. Every time you encourage someone to find their anchor, you reconnect with your own. Every time you sit with someone in their pain, you remember how far you have come. Teaching is not just giving, it is also receiving. The people you help will become part of your support system. They will remind you of your own strength on days when you forget. They will hold space for you when you need it. They will become fellow fortress builders, and together you will create a community of strength that no storm can break. This is the final secret of the emotional fortress. It was never meant to be built alone, and it was never meant to be lived in alone either. Conclusion: welcome home. You have walked a long road to reach this moment. You have learned about your cracks and how to repair them. You have discovered the power of the pause and the anchor. You have built your walls and dug your moat and planted your garden. You have weathered storms and survived earthquakes. You have even reached back to help others begin their own journeys. All of this work has led you here, to the door of your own emotional fortress. And now it is time to walk inside, close the gate behind you, and finally rest. This fortress is yours and yours alone. No one can take it from you. No storm can break it. No earthquake can destroy it completely, because you know how to rebuild. You are home, and home is not a place. It is the strength inside you that no one can ever touch. As you settle into your new home, remember that you will still face challenges. The wind will still blow and the ground will still shake. But now you have something you did not have before. You have walls that were built with intention. You have tools that were sharpened with practice. You have a garden that was planted with love. You have a community of fellow builders who walk beside you. The storms will come, but they will find you different than before. They will find you steady. They will find you unshakable. They will find you home. So take a deep breath, look around at what you have built, and feel the peace that comes from knowing you are finally, truly, emotionally safe. Welcome home, Fortress Builder. Welcome home.